Can a coalition of the Marvel Universe's greatest medical minds cure death itself? Well, let's hop into the pages of Jane Foster Valkyrie issue number 7 and find out together. So then, picking up from where the last issue left off, Jane Foster and her new fellowship, the Magical Medic Squad, had made it to the Realm of Death, which is not to be confused with the Asgardian Realm of Death, or Mephisto's version of Hell, or the One Below All's version of Hell, or the heaven where the angels live. It's a completely different afterlife. One that is currently being assailed by the Death of Death. Who is that? Well, as we discover, they're actually a part of the Living Tribunal, the ultimate ruling body of the Marvel Universe, come here and now to pass judgment on Mistress Death herself for dereliction of duty. The Death of Death, as we discover, is such a horrifying, otherworldly cosmic phenomenon that to even stare upon its visage for too long would drive a person insane. In fact, if you're just a regular human, your mind does mental backflips to try and protect you from what exactly you're seeing. Not for Jane Foster, though. She's in a weird little situation, what with having Asgardian death sight, but still being human. The Death of Death isn't attacking our heroes just yet, which is probably a pretty bad sign, meaning that it's very close to finishing what exactly it came here to do, which means everyone's gotta work double time. Standing in the way of our heroes and their ultimate goal is Sharon the Boatman, you know, the guy from Greek mythology who you put the 2 coins on the dead so they can pay the ferryman, etc., etc. Only that's not the river Styx under him right now, that's a river of pus, because this dimension is dying, corrupted, and if they step in it, there's a good chance everyone could die. Sharon, keeping with his Greek theming, says that the only way the heroes will pass is if they pay him, make a deal with the metaphorical devil, if you will. Excalibur isn't having any of that, though. She says she's a doctor, she swore an oath, but that she also works for the NHS, and you know what? You don't have to pay under the National Health Service. By far, though, it's Mannequin who gets the joke of the issue. Hey, I'm from Canada. Hey, we have free healthcare too. Hey, remember Alpha Flight? Oh, I'm sorry. Excalibur is going to be able to use her powers to hold back the Pus River, but it sadly means the rest of the heroes are going to have to leave her behind as they continue. What's the next dastardly line of defense? Well, it's something none of the heroes could have prepared themselves for. A painting that shows them their worst fear. Well, more than that, it shows them the person or thing in their lives that made them want to be a doctor, made them want to stop death, basically. Jane gets it especially rough seeing the fiery car crash that cost the lives of her ex-husband and son. Yeah, that's right, people often forget this chapter in Jane Foster's history, and I'm glad to see it come back. Cardiac ends up seeing his brother, and in doing so kind of remembers the reason he was a Spider-Man villain to begin with. He actually doesn't want to save Mistress Death. After all, Death has taken so much from all of them. Maybe Death should be allowed to die. He cheap shots Doctor Strange and knocks him out, but quickly comes to his senses that he's being a real D-bag in this situation and pretty much ruining it for everybody. In his crazed state, he also ends up accidentally killing Mannequin, but don't worry, his whole power is he can become different versions of himself from throughout history, so all Cardiac really did was kill the weird single-celled organism version of him. And Doctor Strange will be more than able to resurrect him once he wakes up. This sadly means, though, that Jane will be going to face the Death of Death on her own. And what follows is a really goddamn brilliant scene. You see, Jane's costume ends up completely falling away and she becomes Dr. Jane once again. We see Mistress Death, as she's often shown, hooked up to a life support machine, and the Death of Death basically gives Jane the ability to pull the plug on her once and for all, unless she's able to make an argument as to why the cycle of life and death should be allowed to continue as it is. But here's the real kicker for you. Death of Death is really pissed off at the way Mistress Death has been working because of, get this, the Green Door. Yes, that's right, the thing from Hulk that allows all the Gamma people to come back from the dead pretty much constantly. Jane says as a doctor, she reveres death more than anyone else, and that death, as sad and tragic as it may be, is still ultimately at the end of the day a part of life. And without death, there would be no rebirth, no renewal, and the universe we live in would become a cancerverse. Yes, that's right, they actually used the word cancerverse. Jane doesn't think that she made a very strong argument, but turns out that was exactly what Death of Death was looking for, and so he reinstates Mistress Death. Jane and the others end up saving the day, but it's something of a hollow victory. Old wounds have been opened up for them, and even the final panel showing Mistress Death silhouetted against the burning car of Jane's family is incredibly striking. And so that was Jane Foster Valkyrie issue number 7, everybody, and I gotta say, just when I think I have this series nailed down, just when I think I know what's gonna happen next, leave it to Al Ewing to surprise the hell out of you. This guy really is enjoying getting to chart out the Marvel cosmology of death and the afterlife, and to tie it into what he's doing with the Hulk right now is pretty goddamn inspired. I think this will also end up being a pretty big character-defining moment for Jane Foster and her time as Valkyrie, this idea that death has always been swirling around her, even before she had cancer, even before she became Thor, and that maybe because of those reasons she is ultimately very cut out for this very tragic gig. Overall, I'd end up giving this one a very strong 8.5 out of 10. This was such a nice surprise.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing me right now, it means you watched to the end of the video, of which I will always be appreciative of. It really helps with retention and all that other good YouTube stuff. If you really like my work, you can check me out on social media. I have links down in the description of the video you're watching right now to all my different socials. I got the Twitter, I got the Instagram, I got the Facebook. I'm very easy to be reached, and if you follow me there, you can be the first to know about when a new video goes live. And with that, I will bid you all adieu. Bye-bye.